one recent trend which has happened in the last 2 years is the questions have increased from money market and capital market chapter. Earlier, we would hardly see any question from bonds, convertible bonds, treasury bills, hardly any question. But in the last 2 years, a lot of questions have come. How US Federal Reserve changing interest rate is affecting bond yield in India. These type of interconnectedness among the internationals, that interconnectedness among topic has increased. And in the last 2 years, hardly any question from agriculture, nothing from infrastructure, nothing from industries. 3-4 chapters giving almost 15-20 questions. So that's like we can focus on certain areas, do intensive work on them instead of doing like covering more number of areas, but like focusing not on just 1 or 2 topics. Welcome to Shubhra Ranjan IAS. I am Aman Soni and I'll be discussing the economy portion of UPSC CSC 2023. First of all, I would be asking you, how are you? How are you doing? Rather, welcome to Unpredictable Service Commission. It appears like UPSC is going towards CAT. We are having reasoning question in the GS exam. Statement 1 is correct, statement 2 is correct, statement 2 is the correct reason of statement 1. How many statements are correct? No one imagined these things. Not even a single test series could do these things, these type of innovations. The thing is, one thing which is good about UPSC is that it doesn't allow us to get into our comfort zone. All aspirants, even the teachers, including me, including the teachers, they had got into their comfort zone of able to get the questions correct by elimination. Rather, institutions will be teaching elimination techniques. This year, there is nothing called elimination. There is nothing called those type of questions like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3, like these type of statements, all of the above like statements. No, we don't have them. This time, you had to be very sure if you know it or you don't know it. If you know the statement is correct. If you do not know the statement, if you do not know the statement, you cannot guess it out. You just cannot eliminate the statement. So that beautifies the whole thing, that how comprehensive the preparation ought to be. The difficulty level has gone to next level. So hence the preparation has to go to next level. Not only of the students, but also of the teachers who are into this thing. We have to be one step ahead of this. So this thing will be taken as a stepping stone to success. That next year we are going to bring innovations in what we teach, innovation in how we are going to bring the test series. Then regarding economy portion, that was in general. Now let's talk about the economy portion. You would have read a lot of, what is fiscal policy, what is inflation, what is WPI, CPI, difference between WPI, CPI, GDP deflator, what causes appreciation of rupee, what causes depreciation of rupee, state finances, RBI financial stability report, all these things you have mugged up. And what does UPSC gives you? Totally unexpected. So from economy we had 19 questions. Let's summarize this first. We had 19 questions. Around 10-11 questions were solvable to 100% accuracy. I'm not talking about taking any risk. I'm saying zero risk. Still you will be getting 10 or 11 questions correct. Zero. If you have done the concepts properly, if you have studied well, out of 19 you would be getting 11 correct, and still that's a good number. Considering we have to get only 50 questions correct, and with the CSAT paper getting difficult, with the GS paper getting difficult, it's quite possible the cutoff goes down below as compared to the last year's 88 even. So who knows, this year someone who attempts 44 questions, 45 questions, who get these many questions correct is still able to write the mains. So let's start that discussion first. All right. So first question is, first question. Consider the following statements. India has more arable area than China. Now this statement is correct. India's arable area is around 156 million hectares. 156 million hectares, which is quite more than China's arable area, which is around 120 million hectares. When I say arable area it means that area which is under crops. It doesn't include those areas which are under forest. Rather, what I'm saying is agri-forestry. I would be saying agri-forestry, or which is under plantations, which is under orchards. Arable area doesn't include that. India's total cultivable area is around 150 million hectares. Out of that, arable is 156, and out of this 156, India's irrigated area is more than 40%. India's irrigated area out of this 156 million hectare is 71 million hectares. And China's irrigated area of the arable area is just 69 million hectare. So in proportion, so if we go by absolute numbers, India's absolute irrigated area is more than China's absolute irrigated area. But if we go by the proportion of like irrigated area as a proportion of arable area, then obviously China is like better than us, because its arable area is just 150 million hectares. Out of that, 69 million hectare is irrigated. India's 156 is arable. Out of that, 71 million hectare is irrigated. So first statement, that India has more arable area than China's arable area, this statement is correct. The proportion of irrigated area is more in India as compared to China. This statement is also correct, as I have mentioned over here, with India's irrigated area being 71, China's being 69. Third statement, the average productivity per hectare in Indian agriculture is higher than in China. Now, this statement, most of us will be able to solve it, will be able to get the right answer to it, just because of our overall knowledge of Indian agriculture. We know Indian agriculture even suffers in terms of yield as compared to Bangladesh. India's production may be higher. India's production in rice, wheat, vegetables, it is higher because of more land under these things, more land under these crops. But if we compare the productivity, India's productivity is far behind China's productivity. China's productivity is more than 1.5 times. China's productivity or yield, I would say, is 1.5 times. When I say yield, I will be taking average yield of all crops. I am taking food crops, I am taking oil seeds, I am taking cash crops. So if I take yields of all of them, if I take productivity of all of them, then China's yield is 1.5 times that of India's yield. Hence, this statement is wrong. So we have to tell how many of the above statements are correct. Answer is B, that only 2 of the above 3 statements are correct. These type of questions, they give us a liberty of actually guessing. If someone knows out of these 3 only 2, he would be going for a guess. Let's go for 2 is correct. He is not worried whether 1 and 3 is correct, 2 and 3 is correct, 1 and 4 is correct. Nah. He is worried about only 2 is correct. But that guessing on these lines will be a huge risk. If I would have been at your place, I would be really minimizing my options, minimizing my attempts. Because I know, seeing this type of question paper, everyone would have fallen flat. What's this? What do I do now? The people, the aspirants who are mentally weak, they would just give up the exam. In the first 10 minutes, first 10, 15 minutes, seeing the first 10 questions, they would be just giving up. No, it's not possible. So all those people who survived this question paper, all those students who fought with this question paper in the 2 hours, they would have actually found the easier questions. In this paper, we had multiple easier questions. We just had to find them out, solve them. So it actually checked the mental toughness of the aspirant more than, the attitude. It checked actually the attitude of the person in comparison to the aptitude of the person. More than the content, the knowledge, this question paper, it actually checked how much strong a person is in terms of adversary. All right, let's continue. Next is question number 2. So first question was from agriculture. Second question is from INVIT. Now, most of the time INVIT would not be even taught in class. INVIT is not even practiced by those people who are actively into investing. People who are investing, they would talk about shares, bonds, debentures, futures and options. INVITs, very few people know it. UPSC aspirant, yes, they would know a little bit about it because of asset monetization. That INVIT and REIT are like two innovative methods of getting asset monetization. But how deep the UPSC would go to ask a question like this, that's like too much. The options were too much. But at the same time, this question was similar to a question asked last year, which was regarding inflation indexed bonds, where it was about whether the interest on inflation indexed bond, it is tax free or not. On similar lines, this question has been asked. Anyways, let's see the question. Interest income from deposits in infrastructure investment trust distribute to their investor is exempted from tax, but the dividend is taxable. Look, whatever income we have from INVIT, whether it is dividend, whether it is interest, or whether it is rented income, right? We have like three incomes. We have dividends, interest, rented income. On all three of them, the investor had to pay tax. On repayment of debt was brought under taxation from the budget of 2023, right? So from this year's budget, the repayment of debt under INVIT is also under taxation. Again, this question is similar to one more question asked long time back, where in the budget government had changed LTCGT, long-term capital gains tax, was there in the budget. A question was asked in the budget. Similarly, a taxation change was brought under INVITs, where now under repayment of debt is also under taxation. Therefore, this question has been asked in this year's budget. But obviously, as an aspirant, as a student, it is too hot to handle, too much to know, right? That can we relate so much? All right. So again, dividend, interest, rental income, they come under taxation. It says interest income is exempted from taxation, but the dividend is taxable. This statement is wrong because interest income is also taxable, dividend is also taxable. So statement 1 is wrong. Then second, INVITs are recognized as borrowers under SARFAESI Act 2002. Now there was a change in the budget of 2021. In the budget of 2021, it was mentioned that if we have pooled investment, it will be coming under if there is pooled investment, then the people who are taking that pooled investment, they would be considered as borrowers. And if they do not pay the return on time, if they do not return the payment on time, then the investors, they can sue or they can file up a case of default against the borrowers. So this statement is correct because of budget of 2021, where INVITs are also considered as borrowers because INVITs are a case of pooled investment. So statement 2 is correct, statement 1 is wrong. So hence comes the options. Statement 1 is incorrect and statement 2 is correct. Answer is D. Alright. So statement A is not correct because both statements are not correct. Both statement 1 and 2 are correct. Hence B is also wrong. A is also wrong. Statement 1 is correct. This is also wrong. We are left with option D, where statement 1 is incorrect. Statement 2 is correct. You see the diversity. First question was from agriculture, second comes from money market, capital market. Of late, the questions from money market and capital market have increased. This thing I mentioned in the introduction of the QEP series at Shubhranjan IAS. That of late, questions from bonds, debentures, money market, capital market, they have increased. Last year, there was a difficult question on bond yield, a question on inflation index bonds. This year, they have increased the difficulty level, where the question is from INVIT, the question is from beta. So let's continue the discussion actually. Yes. This question would have given a sense of relief to all those aspirants who have good concepts. Question is, in the post-pandemic recent past, many central banks worldwide had carried out interest rates hike. This we know. This was mentioned in economic survey also. This was mentioned in the newspapers throughout the year, that whether it is US central bank or it is like UK central bank, any central bank, Indian central bank, they have increased the interest rates. Why had they increased the interest rate? Is because they wanted to control inflation, which was happening because of increased crude oil prices. So this statement is correct. And why were they doing it? Because central banks generally assume that they have the ability to counteract the rising consumer prices via monetary policy means. This statement is correct. Both the statements are correct at the same time. Statement 2 is the correct explanation. It's the correct explanation of statement 1. Hence, answer is A. For this question, answer is A. Let's move to next question. Again, I would just give a verdict. This question not solvable. It was a difficult question. If I had been at your place, I would leave it. This question, I would leave it because China has a huge area as compared to India. So if we would just go by logic that, you know, the arable area of China would be more. Second thing, proportion of irrigated area more than China. This we would think highly remote chances, because India's rain-fed agriculture is 60, rain-fed area is 60%, irrigated is just 40%. And we think China being much ahead than us in terms of public infrastructure, in terms of basic infrastructure. So we generally assume that, you know, the irrigated area of China would be more than us. So general tendency would be to mark this as wrong, to mark this as wrong, and mark this as wrong. So general tendency to mark this question would be like none. But as we have seen in the discussion, what's the opposite, right? Then this question, I told you it's difficult. I would have been at your place, I would leave it. Third question, easy question, I would do it. So third question was an easier one. Let's come to the fourth one. Carbon markets are like, this is like one of the questions of environment being stuck into economy portion, right? Carbon markets are likely to be one of the most widespread tools in the fight against climate change. Yes, carbon markets, they have come up because of, you know, environmental issues coming up, where like earlier the carbon markets were between developed countries, developing countries, where the developed countries would be buying carbon credits from developing countries because they were like polluting more, and at the same time they tried to help the developing countries by providing them help, monetary help, so that they could get better technologies. The developing countries could get better technologies to like to go towards renewable energy, to go towards reducing emission also. So carbon market is, yes, one of the most widespread tools in fight against climate change. This statement is correct. Carbon markets transfer resources from the private sector to the state. No, it doesn't work like this, because yes, if there's a statement like carbon tax is transferring the resources, I would agree. But carbon market is like between two companies. It's like if one company is polluting more, and in that case the other company is polluting less, the company which is polluting more, it would try to buy carbon credits from the company which is polluting less. All right, and if it is buying carbon credit, it would be paying like equivalent to the tons of carbon dioxide extra emitted, right? So this like it's not transferring resources from private sector to state, it is actually transferring resources from one company to another company or from one state to another state. From private sector to state, no, this is wrong. So statement 2 is wrong, statement 1 is correct. So statement 1 is correct, statement 2 is incorrect. Answer is C. Let's move to next question. Yeah. So next question. Again, a sense of relief. Which one of the following activities of the RBI is considered to be part of sterilization? Generally, when we discuss managed floating exchange rate in the class, the concept managed floating exchange rate in the class, we tell that whenever we have huge inflow of FDI or FPI, because of this huge inflow of FDI, FPI, rupee would appreciate. And this appreciation of rupee won't be good for exporters. Hence, the RBI has to intervene to stop appreciation of rupee. How can RBI intervene? So first of all, whenever obviously FDI is coming in the market, it means FDI would be giving its dollars to the banks and would be getting rupees from the banks. Then it would be investing those rupees, say, in the stock market. Now, because of these dollars, extra dollars with the bank, rupee would appreciate. To counter this, what RBI does? RBI buys these excessive dollars from the banks and infuses equivalent amount of rupees. So now what is the impact of this thing? The impact is that the forex reserve, it increases. At the same time, it leads to depreciation of rupee. At the same time, it increases liquidity in the economy. Look, RBI is giving equivalent amount of dollars to the bank. Because of this liquidity, there is increase in inflation. And this inflation, it causes or it makes the market unstable. To counter that instability, what would RBI do? RBI would issue bonds and would suck out the excessive liquidity. Don't you think RBI selling bonds and getting rupees, it is also open market operations? What is open market operations? Open market operations is RBI buying or selling government securities to change liquidity in the economy. So RBI would be selling G-Secs. RBI would be selling government securities to reduce inflation or to reduce liquidity. Now, these bonds which are issued by RBI, they are called market stabilization bonds. This process is called market stabilization scheme, also called as sterilization. All right. So what is sterilization? It is conducting open market operations. So answer is A. A very straightforward question, a very easy question. Question number 6. Again, question from money market chapter, right? Second question from money market chapter. Consider the following markets. Government bond market. When I say government bonds, that is government securities, generally they have a maturity period of 5 to 40 years. Treasury bill market, basically those government securities with a maturity period of less than 1 year. Call money market, again it's market for instruments of private enterprises as well as the government for a maturity period of less than 1 year. Stock market, it is for long term, right? How many of the above are included in capital markets? When I say capital market, it means more than equal to 1 year. So obviously in this case we will be including only government bond market and stock market. Hence only two statements are part of the capital markets. Hence answer is B, only two. All right, fair enough. Let's continue. Easy question, really easy question. Yes, this question, this thing we may not have heard. We may not have heard. But thing is, this question was solvable through, I would say, common sense. Which one of the following, it describes the concepts of small farmer, large field. Small farmer, large field. Now this is actually one of the methods of agriculture which started in Vietnam. Why Vietnam? Because Vietnam is like a rice producing country. Rice, it actually like, and Vietnam again, like India has like high population, fragmentation of land holding, small farms, rice, a labor intensive, rice, a labor intensive crop, I would say, and the labor cost is actually approximately 50% of the total cost. So how can the farmer reduce the cost? The farmer can reduce the cost of production by reducing the labor cost. How can the labor cost be reduced? By using machinery in place of labor. So in this case, the farmer, how can the farmers use more machinery? Only if the farmers, the small and marginal farmers, they pool up their lands. Small farmer, large field. They pool up their land. When they are pooling up their land, they can use machinery. At the same time, it gives them bargaining power in terms of buying inputs, in terms of selling their produce also. It is similar to farmer producer organization concept which we are doing in India. And this concept of small farmer large field, it is being implemented as a pilot project in Odisha also. So let's see it. Which one of the best describes the concept of small farmer large field? I would directly go to the answer, where it's like many marginal farmers in an area organize themselves into groups and synchronize and harmonize selected agricultural operations. Selected agricultural operations can be like buying inputs, can be selling goods, can be working on the field, all these things. It's not into contract farming, it's not into uprooting of people, it's not into companies and all. It's into marginal farmers coming together. I would say this question was solvable. Medium difficulty level, but through common sense we would be doing it. This question, yes, from agriculture. We know government provides MSP for Niger seeds, but whether Niger seed is a Kharif crop or Rabi crop, doubtable. Tribal people, they use Niger seed oil for cooking. Generally, even in urban areas, in rural areas, we use Niger seeds for cooking. So basically, tribals are a little bit backward than us, so they would surely be using it. They are more closer to agriculture as compared to people in urban areas or it's in rural areas. So by logic, I would say this statement is correct, this statement is correct, but I'm not sure about this. Hence, I would be leaving the question. But as I am here to discuss, so let's discuss. The government of India provides MSP for Niger seeds. Yes, this statement is correct. Niger is cultivated as a Kharif crop. Yes, it is correct. Because Rabi crop is hardly possible in tribal areas. That's another way of looking at things. Rabi crops are possible either because of western disturbances in northern India, or they are possible in those areas which are good in irrigation. So if Niger was a Rabi crop, there was hardly any chance of production, right? If it is being done by tribal, I would with logic would say yes, it is a Kharif crop. So, but the fact is Niger is cultivated as a Kharif crop. This is correct. And some tribal people in India use Niger seed for cooking oil, for seed oil for cooking. It is correct. All three statements are correct. Answer is C. Whether I would be attempting this question or not, it actually depends on how I am faring in other questions. In that case, I would take a risk, a little bit logical risk, right? Difficulty level, a medium difficulty level. Yes. Consider the following statements. Here I have to tell you about intangible investments. Intangibles are those things which we cannot see, right? Which we cannot touch. So, which of the following? Consider the investments in the following assets. Brand recognition. Is it tangible or intangible? It is intangible. This is correct. Intellectual property, yes. Intangible. Inventory, it's a stock. We can touch it, right? Land, machinery, inventory, they are actually tangible assets. Tangible assets is land, machinery and inventory. Okay. Mailing list of clients, yes, it is also intangible assets. I have to tell you about how many of they are intangible assets. All three? Only two? We have three as intangible assets. Answer is C. Then again a sigh of relief, again a straightforward, direct, very easy question. We have to tell out of these parameters which parameters were used for horizontal devolution of funds, which parameters have been given by 15th Finance Commission for horizontal devolution of funds. Demographic performance, yes, demographic performance was brought first time in 15th Finance Commission, because 14th Finance Commission, it took only into consideration 2011 census population. 15th Finance Commission took into 14th took into consideration 2011 census and 1971 census population as parameters. But 15th Finance Commission, it has taken into consideration 2011 census population. At the same time, to compensate 1971, it has also taken into consideration demographic performance as a parameter. Forest and ecology, yes, it is also a parameter. Governance reforms, no, this is not a parameter. Stable government, no, it is not a parameter. Tax and fiscal efforts, yes, it is also a parameter for horizontal devolution. So we have three parameters. How many? Three, yes, we have three parameters other than area and income distance. All right. So answer is B. Question was easy, should have done it. Very difficult question, factual question. I'll just go through it because I cannot explain it. Why did it come in the UPSC exam, and there's no point of even discussing it over here. Consider the following infrastructure sectors: affordable housing, mass rapid transport, healthcare, renewable energy. How many of the above does UNOPS Sustainable Investments in Infra and Innovation initiative focus for its investment? Direct factual question. Actually, UNOPS, it focuses on affordable housing, healthcare, renewable energy, which includes solar and wind. A factual question, very difficult question. Answer is only 3. Yes. This question I would go by logic. Consider the following heavy industries. Green hydrogen is expected to play a significant role in decarbonizing how many of the above industries? We know one thing, whether it is fertilizer plant or it is steel plant or it is oil refinery, all of them are energy intensive. So green hydrogen is what? It is basically energy resource, right? It is a clean energy resource. So hence it is used in fertilizer plants where like we can go for green ammonia. It can be used in steel plants where we can use for desulfurization. We can go in steel plants. At the same time, in oil refineries, it can be used for desulfurization of crude oil. So all three, green hydrogen has its utility in all three of them. Answer is C. This question was easy, should have been done. Again, G20 a question, it was very much in news, it should have been covered, right? The G20 group was originally established as a platform for finance ministers and central bank governors to discuss the international and financial issues. Yes, actually it was set up in 1999. G20 was set up in 1999 because of the Asian financial crisis. So they wanted actually that the larger countries, they come together to discuss the financial and international and financial issues. This statement is correct. The digital public infrastructure is one of India's G20 priorities. Yes, when I say digital public infrastructure, here we are focusing on Aadhaar, we are focusing on Digi Yatra, focusing on Digi Locker, focusing even on UPI. So we are giving huge priority to DPI. It is actually called DPI in India's G20 meetings. So both statements are correct. Answer is both 1 and 2. Next is question number 14. Actually, why it is in news is because last year banks all over the world, they increased interest rates, corporate bonds increased interest rates. Because of increase in interest rates by the banks, the investors, they sold their gold. When they sold their gold, the price of gold reduced in international market. Because of that, the gold, it made its way into developing economies, where like China imported a huge amount from Switzerland. In India's case, that was not the case, but still it was in news because the gold price had gone down very much last year, right? So, and Switzerland is actually one of the leading refiners of gold. The way we are good in oil refinery, Switzerland is good in like gold refinery. So Switzerland is one of the leading exporters of gold in terms of value. Yes, it has always been one of the leading exporters, and it has the second largest gold reserves in the world. When I say gold reserves, it is not similar to coal reserve. When I say gold reserve, it means how much is the central bank having. In terms of central bank, largest is with China, second is with Japan, third is with Switzerland. Very difficult to memorize this fact about Switzerland. Had it been India, we would have still remembered. But why would we remember about Switzerland? No. I won't attempt this question, but still, this statement is wrong. This statement is correct. Both, so answer is C. Statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is incorrect. Consider the following statement, again highly factual. India accounts for 3.2% of global exports of goods. India actually accounts for, when I say 3.2%, it's not 3.2%. And again, it is goods. Look, in terms of overall exports, India accounts for 2.2% of world's exports, total exports. If I talk about merchandise exports, which is actually about the goods, India contributes just 1.8%. If I talk about services exports, India contributes 4%. This data has been taken from economic survey, right? So India students, knowing that India is accounting for 3.2%, a difficult thing to ask from them. The statement is wrong. Let's say that statement is wrong, but whether I would be attempting this question, I won't be attempting. So as I've got the first statement to be wrong, answer is D, where statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is correct because we do not have any other option, right? And anyway, statement 2 is correct because many local companies and foreign companies have taken advantage of India's PLI scheme. All right, let's move to next question. Yes. It is about PSL, it is about MSME. According to MSME Act, the medium enterprises are those with investment in plant and machinery between 15 crores and 25 crores. In the year 2020, the definition of medium enterprises, the definition of micro, small, medium enterprises was changed to include both the investment as well as turnover. So, what is a medium enterprise? Medium enterprise is where the investment is less than 20 crores and turnover is less than 100 crores. So here we are saying, what is MSME? Investment between 15 to 25? No, because if the investment goes beyond 20, it ceases to be a medium enterprise. Hence, this statement is wrong because it is crossing the definition given over here is actually crossing the threshold given by the Act. Second, all bank loans to MSME qualify under priority sector? Yes, as per RBI's guidelines on PSL, any type of loan given to MSME, it comes under priority sector. So second, statement 2 is correct, statement 1 is wrong. Which of the following statements are correct? 2 only. Answer is B. Let's move to next question. Again, easy question, because CBDC was in news, cryptocurrencies was in news, students would have prepared them thoroughly. So it is possible, let's talk about with reference to central bank digital currencies. It is possible to make payments in a digital currency without using US dollar or SWIFT system. Yes, it is correct, and that's why the central banks, they're promoting the CBDC because it will be making the payment system faster, the payment system more transparent also. So we will not be requiring US dollar or SWIFT system if we have digital currency. This is correct. At the same time, if the government or if the central bank has to bring a stimulus package, what it can do is, if the central bank wants to encourage consumption, what it can do is, it can give a digital currency in the accounts of people with the spending time frame, where the money will be spent only up to, the money can be spent only up to a certain time. Beyond that, it would expire. This is being tried in Chinese digital currency also. In digital yuan, they are trying this, that because the digital yuan is programmable in such a way that we can even time frame the spending time. We can time frame its spending limit. So a digital currency can be distributed with a condition programmed into it, such as a time frame for spending. Yes, it can come with a conditions program. Statement 2 is also correct. How many are correct? Both 1 and 2 are correct. Let's move to next question. In terms of beta, very technical question, very technical question, because generally students, they won't be reading the share market related news in the newspaper. Beta comes because of fluctuation in the stock market. Very difficult. If someone is from finance background, he would do it. Someone is from UPSC background, he should leave it. What does beta tell? Beta actually tells about volatility in the stock of a particular company, in the share of a particular company. If beta is equal to 1, it means that the stock is as volatile as the normal index. That is, the stock is as volatile as the volatility in Sensex or as the volatility in Nifty. If beta is less than 1, it means the stock has lesser volatility as compared to Nifty or Sensex, and if beta is more than 1, it means it is more volatile. Alright, so let's come to the answers. So what is beta? It is actually a numeric value that measures the fluctuations of a stock to changes in the overall stock market. Very difficult question, but a straightforward question. Students who would be having an idea about stock market, they would probably do it. Let's come to the last question. It's about self-help groups. So self-help group was originally initiated by SBI. No, this statement is wrong. They were actually brought by NABARD. In SHG, all members of a group take responsibility for a loan that an individual member takes. Yes, it is a joint liability where if one person is borrowing, other people they stand as like guarantor for him or they take responsibility for him. The RRBs and SCBs support self-help groups. This statement is also correct. These two statements are correct. This is wrong. How many are correct? Only 2 are correct. So, how many questions are solvable? Question 19, yes, easy. Sorry. Yes. So, this one was easy, solvable one. Not solvable, difficult. CBDC, yes, solvable. Solvable, easy means 2. Next thing. MSME, yes, easy question, was in news, a static question. Easy means 3. Difficult question, I won't do it. Switzerland, I won't do it. G20, I won't do it. Now, I may be knowing it, I may not be knowing it. It's a factual question. If you know it, it is very good. Yes, easy 4, a logical question rather I would say. Easy 4. Difficult. Easy 5. Easy question. Easy 6. I won't do it. I would do it. Easy 7. Easy question 8. Easy 9. I would take it. Easy 10. Easy 11. Difficult. Difficult. So, out of 19 questions, 11 questions could have been done with like 90 to 95% accuracy. You add 2-3 more to it, we could have got like with 60-70% accuracy, we could have got them correct also. Overall verdict for economy sections, more than 50% questions very easy, solvable. Few questions medium type, logical we can do it. Other questions very difficult, should have totally avoided them. Again, I would say students who were mentally tough, who could handle this thing, they would be like clearing the exam. The students who panicked that why it's like this, why it is happening with me, the pattern has to change with me only, they won't be clearing it. Lesson for next year, lesson is expect these things from UPSC always. Expect some surprise in mains exam also. Be ready for it, be mental tough. Alright, bye bye, take care.